going to start you off with the big story everyone is talking about today. Virginia Governor Northam. And the question about whether or not he will resign after those racist photos appeared of somebody in blackface standing next to a KKK Klans member. Northam originally said that he was in that photo and apologized over the weekend. He said that it wasn't him. And now it looks like he may, in fact, turn around and resign. That is the big question today. He had said he wasn't going to, but again, he has changed his mind on several things in the last several hours as this case has continued. And somebody who has been there at the center of it all, asking tough questions of the governor, Zachary Keech. I bring you in now, Zachary. Tell us, what is the chance that Governor Northam will now resign?
Well, certainly. Well, first of all, good morning to you. Certainly there is a chance that he could resign. One of our affiliates here is reporting that he is open to the idea, but hasn't made any determination yet. We do know that the governor was meeting with some high-level staffers last night. He also had a cabinet meeting this morning at about 9 o'clock. Again, we haven't heard that any determination has been made in terms of whether or not he will resign at this point in time. But I just want to kind of back up and give you guys a timeline of how this whole thing played out. Obviously, Friday, this photo emerged. It shows two gentlemen, what appeared to be two gentlemen, two people, certainly, one in blackface, one in KKK garb. Just to preface where this was found, this was in a yearbook of Governor Northam's from med school. This wasn't just in any old page. This was in a section that was his, right? So think about this in terms of like a particular class or group might have their own page where you select your own photos, your own quotes, a little bit of background about yourself, a way to represent yourself. This was found along with a collection of other photos and quotes. And initially, the governor said, I own this. I acknowledge that this is wrong. He took accountability. He appeared to really try to take some ownership, as I said, and get out ahead of this. But the big question then on Friday night was, which one is he, right? Which one is he? If he's acknowledging that he's in this photo, which one is he? And then we began to hear on Saturday morning that he was doing an about-face from that. We heard that he was now saying that after close consideration, he had come to the determination that it was not him. There was a press conference at the governor's mansion just behind me here. It was an unbelievable scene, a packed room. We're going to hear some sound from that in his explanation of how he came to the determination that this was not him.
I was appalled that they appeared on my page, but I believe then and now that I am not either of the people in that photo.
He went on to, again, try to provide some perspective, right? It was almost like the process of elimination, right? He had gathered with these friends and family. He had made some calls to former classmates. He had come to the determination that it wasn't him. And part of the way that he came to this determination, part of this narrative or storyline that he provided was that he had, in fact, worn blackface. And it wasn't on this occasion. He wore blackface as part of a dress-up. It was a Michael Jackson competition. It happened in San Antonio, Texas. It coincidentally was about the same time frame of his life. And so he's giving this explanation, and a reporter asked a question that almost seemed out of line at the time, right? Can you still do the moonwalk, right? He's talking about the glove and the shoes and the shoe polish that he put on his face. And so this reporter asked the question, and it was fascinating because the governor appeared to consider actually doing the moonwalk. He looked at the space in front of the podium. We were stunned in the room. And then he looked at his wife. We're gonna go to that sound now.
I dressed up in a, what's his name? The singer? Michael Jackson, excuse me. That's why I had Pam with me. I had the shoes, I had a glove, and I used just a little bit of shoe polish to put under on my cheeks. And the reason I used a very little bit is because I don't know if anybody's ever tried that, but you cannot get shoe polish off. But it was a dance contest. I had always liked Michael Jackson. I actually won the contest because I had learned how to do the moonwalk.
He then looks at his wife, and of course she waves him off, says it's inappropriate. I asked a series of questions in that room, and one of my questions was a question that I've heard asked so many times. Should you be concerned that you don't know that blackface is wrong, that you didn't have a general sense that this was the wrong thing to do? You got to keep in mind that part of the explanation on Saturday, part of what we heard from the governor is that he had an extraordinary kind of understanding of race and people who are different than him because of his unique life experience. Let's go to that soundbite. Do you think as a grown adult that it's problematic that you need to have it explained to you that blackface is offensive?
No, I'm not a person of color, and people of color experience different things. It affects them different ways.
Now, Zach, you heard the governor there talking about how difficult it was to get that blackface on and take the shoe polish off. Did you get, and even with that joke about whether or not he could still moonwalk and him almost appearing like he was going to do it, did you get the sense as an African-American man questioning the governor in that moment that he still didn't fully understand why people were outraged about this?
Well, Lana, I mean, it's clear that he doesn't fully understand the weight of this. It's interesting. A lot of people have turned their back on him, right? A lot of people in the Democratic Party, and he was once viewed as somebody who was kind of a rising star. Even Obama co-signed for him and supported him. I'm reminded of something that Obama said during his presidency to the effect of, when it comes to race and talking about race in this country, that we're cowards, that we don't want to talk about it. I think the important thing to look at with this particular story is context. This isn't about me as a black man or anybody else individually. It's about the conversations that we're willing to have about race in this country. And of course, the governor is a lightning rod, right? He has become an outlet for the hurt and the pain that so many people have in this country as it relates to race. But you got to keep in mind that progress never seems fast enough, certainly for those of us who stand to benefit from the progress. But there has been incredible strides made in this country as it relates to race over the last 50 or 60 years. And I'm here to say that the governor is not alone in terms of the maturation or the growth that you'd hope as it relates to race in this country. It's one thing to have these photos published in a book, and it's another to hold those feelings in your head or your heart. But we really need to use this as an opportunity, I believe, in this country to really confront race in a real way, because at the end of the day, whether the governor stays in office or resigns, unless we are willing to confront race and to address these deep-seated issues, it really won't have a big impact on Virginians or the country as a whole.
Zachary Quiche, excellent reporting out there. You're so right. Valuable conversations, tough conversations, but ones that help bend us towards justice.